Hi, and welcome to another video. Today we will talk about conditionals or if clauses, type 1. As always, we will focus on when do we use the if clauses type 1 and how do we form the if clauses type 1. Let's get started. To answer the question when do we use if clauses, we need a small table. And of course, we need a sentence. If the weather is good tomorrow, I will go mountain biking. Wenn das Wetter morgen gut ist, werde ich Mountainbiken gehen. As we see in the table, this sentence has two parts. The first part, if the weather is good tomorrow, is a condition, eine Voraussetzung. And the second part, I will go mountain biking, is the consequence, die Konsequenz, die aus der Voraussetzung resultiert. So we can say, we use if clauses to express that one thing is a requirement, a condition for another thing to happen, which is a consequence. In German, wir benutzen if clauses, um auszudrücken, dass eine Sache die Voraussetzung für eine andere Sache, eine Konsequenz, ist. Pretty easy. Now, to answer our second question, how do we form if clauses type 1? We need a slightly bigger table. Have no fear, once we fill this with content, it's all going to be easy and clear. We have already established that if clauses need a condition and a consequence. Now, grammatically speaking, the condition is the subordinate clause, der Nebensatz, and the consequence is the main clause, der Hauptsatz. If the weather is good tomorrow is the subordinate clause, I will go mountain biking is the main clause. This is important because to form an if clause type 1, we always use if plus simple present in the subordinate clause. If clauses Typ 1 zu bilden, benutzen wir if plus simple present im Nebensatz. And we use the will future in the main clause und die will future im Hauptsatz. One more important thing to note is that the consequence can also stand at the beginning of the sentence. So for our example sentence, if the weather is good tomorrow, I will go mountain biking. That means the sentence, I will go mountain biking if the weather is good tomorrow is perfectly fine. There's just one small difference. We don't need the comma. So here, to sum up the things you need to take away from this video in order to form perfectly fine if clauses type 1 is a friend of mine. You need to know that I will go mountain biking is the consequence, so the main clause. And you have to know that you need the will future there. And you need to know that if the weather is good tomorrow is the condition, the subordinate clause. And you have to know that you need if plus simple present there. You have noticed that Bart Simpson talks a little bit Swabian here, which is totally stupid. But sometimes totally stupid is what helps us to learn stuff. This brings us to the end of today's video. Feel free to jump back to anything you maybe didn't understand because I talked a bit too fast. And maybe also copy some of the rules or the examples into your exercise books. And now, as always, because you've made it to the end of the video, here's a little funny treat.
Nighttime, daytime, nighttime, daytime, nighttime, daytime.
What are you doing?
Having a game in nighttime, daytime. You want to play?
No, you're right. I got an Xbox.